What would happen if the lessons you have learned about Genesis 6 deviate from what they seem? The inquisitive have wondered for millennia about the mysterious and captivating songs referencing the Nephilim and the sons of God. While some argue it's a tale of moral lineage joining with the evil, others think it's one of celestial beings descending from the heavens and entwining with humans. However, which one is true? We will travel around the holy text in this video, investigating and exposing the profound truths buried in one of the most hotly contested and fascinating sections of the scriptures. Let's travel through 3 possible readings of the sons of God, exploring the reasons many of these would fail under close inspection. We will investigate how the sacred book exposes a stunning reality about the nature of these mysterious entities and the consequences this reveals for our understanding of sin, celestial creatures, and the Nephilim. Still, it goes beyond simple old stories or religious arguments. This relates to our current views, as well as the ongoing impact of old works on our perception of the planet. Come along on this trip as we explore the depths of ancient writings and expose the actual meaning of Genesis 6. You will be astounded by what we find. Are you ready to expose the reality? Let me go further on the first section on the interpretations of sons of God, so creating a more comprehensive picture of knowledge. Within the rich tapestry of theological inquiry, the enigmatic phrase, sons of God, has sparked intense debate among academics and won over the hearts of believers all around. Found throughout treasured traditions, this ageless phrase has immense relevance for our understanding of the relationship between the divine and humans. Come, let us go together across the 3 primary interpretations that have emerged over the years, molded by careful thought and profound spiritual insight. First, the family of Seth, the 3rd son of Adam, draws us in, a story that has enthralled many people over the ages. These ancestors committed themselves to the adoration of the divine and the quest for spiritual development. Therefore, they maintained a life of purity and morality. Sharing their spiritual inheritance over the years, they created communities anchored on divine ideas. Many strayed in a period when they kept fast to the old teachings and fostered a strong relationship with the holy. Still, their seclusion started to erode as time passed, since they came upon Cain's line's daughters. Though physically beautiful, these women represented a rejection of the road of spiritual commitment. Though the Sethites came from a strong spiritual background, they felt an irresistible attraction toward these partnerships. This reading shows that the phrase, sons of God, refers to those moral descendants who began to lose their holy legacy because of their choices. The second reading suggests that these entities were celestial angels descending from heaven and therefore entering the extraordinary. Designed to fulfill their duties in the heavens above, these celestial entities found human beauty captivating. They moved away from their heavenly obligations in a moment of great decision. Therefore, they changed their sacred calling. Several ancient texts support this viewpoint, clearly referring to the phrase, sons of God, as angelic entities serving within the heavenly assembly. As this knowledge shows, these celestial entities were able to interact with humans and take on a physical form. Their choice to engage in these contacts upset the divine plan and had terrible consequences. This viewpoint reflects the powerful nature of their offspring and the divine mandate that followed. In the third view, we are discovering the rich tapestry of ancient Near Eastern mythology, where these people have more importance. Under this view, the sons of God were powerful kings and well-known warriors, claiming their divine lineage. Like the well-known Gilgamesh, They presented themselves as superior nature beings, trying to justify their rule over the common people. These ruler priests often presented themselves as links between the earthly and celestial spheres. This view exposes parallels in many ancient civilizations, where kings frequently declared a lineage derived from the divine. During ancient times, the leaders would call their subjects to create powerful courts and create alliances by means of marriage, therefore enhancing their rule. Though their activities passed under the cover of divine mandate, they often descended into corruption and the abuse of authority. Every perspective has immense relevance for understanding the core of humanity and the relationship between the divine and humans. From their point of view, the Sethites emphasize the need to maintain spiritual integrity and the consequences of changes in one's religious beliefs. It communicates the idea that the attraction of earthly wants could ensnare even the most devoted hearts. The divine word shows amazing features that highlight the immense relevance of our choices and the holy restrictions imposed by God. It shows that temptation may still strike even celestial entities and that deviating from divine order has dire consequences. The stories from antiquity expose the complex network of power and how those in charge spun legends of heavenly ancestry to justify their rule. It demonstrates the frequency with which human ambition intertwines the sacred and the mundane, resulting in a mosaic where boundaries become hazy. Despite each reading being unique, they come together to weave a complex web of interconnected concepts that underscore the connection between the divine and human realms. They all stress the need to respect holy limits and the consequences of crossing them. This story reminds us greatly of our responsibility as people and the ongoing struggle between our spiritual obligations and the temptations of the earth. Let me explore the holy books and the references that guide the understanding of the sons of God. The term sons of God appears in several contexts throughout the sacred scriptures, providing essential understanding of its importance in the book of Genesis. These holy references invite us to explore the significance of the connections between the divine and mankind, since they create a rich story of them. In the ageless story of Job, we come across many scenes where the phrase, sons of God, clearly refers to celestial entities. We see meetings of celestial creatures calling forth to stand before the majestic heavenly throne in these hallowed sites. Through their interactions, one can sense a holy order inside the spiritual sphere, where these entities serve as celestial servants. The words of the prophet Daniel, especially, help clarify this knowledge. His visions frequently show these people as divine personalities, serving purposes in the celestial assemblage. Crossing the hallowed line separating the celestial from the earthy, they present themselves as heralds, champions, and committed servants of the divine will. Often showing these angelic beings among the hallowed acts of heavenly adoration, the Psalms weave in faint indications concerning them. These lyrical songs show the celestial hosts gathering in respect before the Almighty, raising their voices in adoration and executing holy decrees. Examining the complex tapestry of ancient Hebrew language reveals the significant connotations behind the phrase, sons of God, which speaks to particular linguistic relevance. Frequent references to divine entities in the Old Testament, the Hebrew word Bene Elohim, weaves a tapestry of the supernatural across its holy writings. This harmonic application of language strengthens the evidence for an analogous interpretation of Genesis 6. Though their interpretation calls for careful consideration, the deuterocanonical books provide deeper knowledge. These stories explore the link between the terrestrial and celestial spheres and offer vivid narratives of how supernatural creatures participate in human life. According to the ancient Hebrew conception of the universe, it was considered a vast tapestry of layers, each inhabited by different entities operating on their own unique levels. Within the vast fabric of creation, the sons of God occupied a unique position as links between the earthly domain and according to the Holy Story, these entities possessed enormous authority and the freedom to select their road of life. Their decisions influenced all spheres of life by creating a tapestry of immense relevance that resonated throughout the skies and the ground. This realization clarifies the weight of the heavenly judgment they arrived upon following their actions. One frequently finds the reference to celestial entities intertwined throughout the epic story of cosmic conflicts and celestial gatherings in the sacred books. These parts show a complex web of relationships between many celestial beings, each of which is necessary for divine purpose to be carried out. Celestial One, often stressing their part in the heavenly symphony of human events, the historical narratives thread in soft suggestions of these entities. These sources highlight a harmonic biblical story of celestial bodies interacting with the earth. Findings and relics from surrounding cultures expose fascinating parallels to these old stories. The ancient Near Eastern writings contain stories of entities that straddle the line between the divine and the human worlds. Still, the Bible has a special theological perspective that distinguishes it, often speaking of these beings in reference to the enormous act of creation and the administration of the divine. The sacred texts of wisdom offer still another level of knowledge. These sections highlight their relevance inside the vast fabric of divine interaction with creation. Deeper into the holy books, we see an amazing tapestry whereby angelic entities carry out the great scheme of the divine. This consistency strengthens the case for seeing the sons of God in Genesis 6 as divine creatures rather than only as earthly leaders or moral descendants. According to the holy books, these entities were unique in the fabric of creation, given powers and authority beyond human comprehension. In the ancient era, as recounted in Genesis 6, the choices made by the people marked a significant deviation from their intended path, consequently attracting divine retribution. The sacred books reveal a tapestry spun with references that highlight the character of the sons of God. These celestial beings receive divine assignments, yet they possess the freedom to deviate from their predetermined paths. Let me explore more of the evidence and support of the New Testament in the reading of Sons of God. Through the words of Peter and Jude, the New Testament reveals fundamental insights into the ancient conceptions of this mysterious people and presents an engaging story. Rooted in the teachings of the apostles, their interpretations combine the rich Old Testament stories with the fundamental ideas of early Christianity. Peter makes links in his second letter between the subject of divine judgment and the Genesis story. Speaking of angels who have strayed, he suggests a close relationship to the story of the sons of God. His deliberate word choice suggests that these entities held a divine status prior to their descent from grace. The Epistle of Jude reveals the narrative of angels who left their proper home, therefore exposing a complex story with significance. Jude's detailed depiction perfectly aligns with the narrative in Genesis, implying that these entities decided to depart from their designated world. Jude writes with careful consideration, piecing together several biblical stories into a harmonic understanding. The holy books create a vibrant tapestry of time and history by entwining these events with Noah's age. This link highlights for the readers the seriousness of the situation and their contribution in generating the massive flood. The chronology of events offers vital understanding of the ways the divine has interacted with people over the years. In the early days of the faith, the interpretations found in these holy books demonstrate a strong and sophisticated awareness of the divine order and the celestial worlds. The writers carefully outline the several tiers of celestial entities, therefore helping readers to understand the different functions of these sons of God. The extraordinary unity with which the New Testament's writers construct their stories suggests a strongly ingrained theological sense. Their readings expose a broad awareness of Jewish traditions and provide fresh angles for people of the Christian religion. These narratives show the immense significance of these events and entwine them into a greater story of celestial atonement. The authors deftly combine the remarkable with the everyday to provide their readers with great spiritual life lessons. Peter and Jude highlight their ongoing relevance by incorporating these old stories into the fabric of modern spiritual conflicts. Their teachings show that understanding these important historical events helps the devout face spiritual challenges today. The holy books provide a huge window into the divine limits imposed by the Creator and the consequences resulting from their crossing. Their careful storytelling helps readers to appreciate the serious repercussions of violating holy limits. These New Testament allusions expose a tremendous richness in handling complex spiritual subjects. The authors deftly combine the commonplace with the remarkable to make sure their audience would relate to the teachings. Including even the strongest of celestial hosts, the holy books always emphasize the absolute power of the divine over every entity brought into existence. This holy frame of view helps seekers to understand the proper links among the celestial entities, the divine, and humans. Early on in the Christian religion, societies kept these legends as actual events with immense spiritual significance for their daily life, not only stories. Their observations shaped early Christians' basic convictions about the power of the divine and the wars of the Spirit. The holy books entwine the miracle with direction for daily faith. This approach helps searchers to understand profound spiritual truths and avoid too much focus on dramatic aspects. These New Testament sections highlight early Christian viewpoints on the divine order and the responsibilities within it. Their careful storytelling highlights for modern viewers the significance of these historic events. The words provide direction for leading a spiritually enhanced life and expose profound insights about faith. This harmony helps searchers understand complex spiritual truths in their proper environment. Let me explore more of the profound lessons Jesus taught about angels and how they help us understand the sons of God. Jesus' teachings expose profound insight into the nature and behavior of angels, particularly in relation to human interaction. His comments about angels demonstrate a profound awareness of divine secrets, all the while shedding important spiritual light for daily life. Declaring that they neither marry nor are given in marriage, the Lord speaks unequivocally in the holy tales about the core of angels in the heavenly realm. This lesson reveals fundamental truths about the nature of angelic beings in the middle of a profound conversation about resurrection and the promise of eternity. Still, this divine picture does not intrinsically contradict the stories of angels interacting in different ways on the earth. Jesus' lessons center on their soul's everlasting condition instead of the transient events or deeds in the worldly sphere. Clear understanding of the message depends on knowing the differences between the worlds above and below. Those ethereal entities, angels, show throughout the holy books their amazing ability to interact with the corporeal world when dispatched by divine will. Jesus spoke of angels in several chapters, therefore revealing their role as celestial messengers and committed servants of the divine. His lessons reveal a rich tapestry of spiritual entities, each spun with different purposes and limits inside the enormous pattern of the divine order. The gospel stories expose many times when angels interact with people, always within the hallowed boundaries defined by the divine. These meetings show how celestial entities could have a physical presence and still be expressing their divine nature. Christ's lessons emphasize the angels' respectful subservience to heavenly might, in spite of their immense might and ability. This realization clarifies the terrible results that followed from some celestial entities crossing their boundaries. Whereas angels are always present in the heavens, their short visits to our planet stand in contrast. This difference clarifies the apparent differences among the several biblical accounts of angels' behavior. In the stories Jesus tells, angels frequently show up as celestial messengers, carrying divine judgments and carrying out divine will execution. These lessons help clarify why the heavenly creatures preserve the holy order and respect the restrictions imposed. The lessons of the Master show a harmonic mix between keeping our hearts grounded in the core of spiritual truth and appreciating the beauties beyond our reach. His approach helps the devout to understand the core of angels, therefore avoiding pointless speculation. Jesus spoke about angels in the course of his ministry as creatures created by the Creator, working under the sovereign will of the Almighty. This holy knowledge helps one to see the weight of judgment when celestial entities violate their constraints. Christ's lessons help us to see the transient nature of our current physical life, in contrast to the timeless spiritual truths just waiting for us. This point of view clarifies several possible ways in which celestial bodies could operate under different conditions. The holy stories preserve a deliberate distance between the ethereal domain of angels and their manifestations among us on earth. This profound understanding helps clear up the seeming contradictions in the holy stories. Jesus' profound teachings illuminate the spiritual realm and serve as a guide to comprehend the intricate dance of angelic beings. His knowledge helps the believers to grasp the divine and the secrets all around them. These lessons establish different limits, while nevertheless acknowledging the significant part angels play in the enormous design of divine purposes. Christ's divine knowledge lights the hearts of his followers so they may understand these complex spiritual truths in their proper setting. Let me explore further the meaning and understanding of the Nephilim. The Nephilim rise as fascinating creatures covered in mystery and steeped in enormous historical significance in the pages of the ancient literature. Their existence, before and after the Great Flood, suggests a multifarious identity that goes beyond simple supernatural beginnings. These amazing people are called heroes of old and men of renown in the chronicles of antiquity, signifying their enormous impact on the beginning of human society. Among the ancients, their extraordinary actions and great renown made them legendary. Archaeological finds from the margins of time reveal stories of remarkable people who performed amazing things. These stories often coincide with holy books that mention the Nephilim, therefore reflecting a common cultural memory of these amazing people. These outstanding leaders and fighters displayed exceptional skills that set them apart from the average person. Their exploits and victories laid the fundamental basis for the creation of numerous great stories and cultural customs. Stories from the past reveal their presence at various times, even beyond the days of celestial meetings. This dispersion throughout time suggests that they were extraordinary people, rather than creatures sprung from another planet. Moses painstakingly notes the variations between the Nephilim and any prospective progeny produced by human mating with angels. His words highlight their unique essence and help guard against misinterpretations of their nature and beginnings. In the annals of history, we discover records that emphasize the immense power and leadership ability of these people, therefore presenting them as remarkable humans rather than objects of divine origin. Their influence wove the fabric of early human communities, leaving behind legacies that would reverberate for millennia. Different cultural traditions have spun together the tales of these remarkable people over the years, distilling their core in outstanding stories and historical accounts. Their stories spun themselves right into the core of many ancient civilizations' cultural legacy. The Holy Story opens to show these people as actual people whose lives cross several decades. This ongoing presence suggests a heritage anchored in humans rather than a divine beginning. Archaeological finds expose the amazing stories of advanced ancient civilizations in the developing narrative of our past, driven by outstanding leaders who molded their fates. These revelations weave the ancient stories of the Nephilim into the colorful tapestry of history. Chronicles of valor from long ago described great champions, whose ability inspired great respect and adoration among all those who saw them. These stories honor their historical accuracy while resonating with holy books. The stories of the Nephilim helped to define the direction of cultural development in past civilizations. Their stories spun a complex tapestry of early human wisdom about the core of leadership, the nature of power, and the quest for excellence. Their continuing life after the flood exposes the core of humanity, since individuals of a celestial character would not have survived the divine decision. This element reveals a major window into their real self. In the mosaic of ancient civilizations, we discover characters that reflect across civilizations, suggesting rather than the hand of the divine, common human experiences woven into the fabric of our past. These concurrent tales help to clarify the historical background of holy stories, offering enormous windows into the grandeur of ancient human society and its victories. The everlasting influence of these amazing people captivates the minds of academics and seekers alike. Let me explore the mythologies and misinterpretations that have spun themselves around these ageless stories. Inside the field of ancient literature, the Book of Enoch is unique in illuminating the stories spun inside biblical narratives and therefore influencing their modern interpretation. These other sources usually improve the original stories with complex and amazing supernatural elements. Born from the mating of angels and humans, the Nephilim emerged as massive entities in the myths passed down through the years, spinning narratives that, although fascinating, frequently veered from the truth. These readings strayed from the intention of the original text by including fanciful features that obscured its central point of view. Different cultural traditions spun complex stories about these important events in the fabric of human existence, fusing the rich tapestry of myth and legend with the threads of historical reality. Rather than offering an exact historical record, these rich stories often reflect the cultural ideas of the day. There are many narratives in the old Near Eastern legends that combine the strands of divine and human interactions. Despite suggesting a shared cultural memory, these similarities often diverge significantly from the truths revealed in holy writings. The way these stories are developing exposes a shared human tendency to create complex supernatural strands while underplaying the weight of moral teachings. Many times, this development of stories obscures the fundamental moral lessons of the original narrative. Looking through history, we can see how many civilizations have spun their own stories about these events, molded by their unique points of view and beliefs. Often, these readings expose the shadows of cultural prejudices rather than faithfully capturing the actual core of historical events. The dissemination of mythical interpretations has created a rich tapestry that still influences our perspective of faith and society over the millennia. The complex stories often eclipse the central point of the original narrative, which emphasizes the need for human responsibility. Archaeological evidence shows how, through the strands of historical events, ancient humans spun complex stories and beliefs. Many times, these cultural adaptations transformed simple historical stories into complex and amazing narratives bursting with the remarkable. Emphasizing our acts above depending on divine intervention, the book emphasizes the need of human moral responsibility. Incorporating numerous legendary stories could distort the focus on human responsibility. Scholars explore the rich fabric of ancient myths in the developing tale of history, therefore illuminating their profound influence on faith and spirituality. This research clarifies the variations between the truths of history and the embellishments spun into the fabric of stories over time. The urge to spin stories around these narratives exposes a deep-seated need in people to move the weight of guilt outside of themselves. This fascinating pattern of thinking usually leads to complex and otherworldly explanations of our moral failings. Within the weave of faith, many traditions have spun their own interpretations, each molded by the rich fabric of their theological ideas. The complex tapestry of many perspectives reveals the significant influence of cultural context on the interpretation of holy books. These stories and their interpretations still shape our view of the surroundings in the long term. This influence usually creates challenges to a real knowledge of theology and history. Examining the Holy Book reveals the significant themes of human transgression and the divine's just reaction. This emphasis is much different from the more complex stories that would develop later. Learning these old stories helps modern seekers interact with the Scripture in a more enlightened way. This knowledge preserves their moral core and helps one have a better awareness of the ageless stories of the past. As we wrap up our study of a highly debated section in the Holy Writings, I find myself wondering how often we interact with these ageless books, shaped by centuries of custom and interpretation. Genesis 6, 1 through 4 offers a wonderful mystery that has perplexed many. It is especially remarkable how easily we might fall into the habit of reading these chapters through the lens of our modern environment, rather than allowing the Scriptures to transmit their own message. The idea that the sons of God might represent angels rather than human lineages reveals a different viewpoint that challenges much of our received wisdom. Along our path of knowledge, we must question the ideas we have carried for so long and welcome fresh discoveries that speak more to the holy books. We discover the enormous depths of significance in the Holy Book as we enter the domains of angels, Nephilim, and the essence of sin, thereby beckoning us to go carefully instead of only skimming the surface. It's not only a search for solutions, it's a voyage of deepening our relationship with these ageless books so that they could profoundly and significantly direct and influence our lives. What is your future path? Deeper exploration of these ideas should provide delight. The act of challenging your ideas or searching for many points of view should not scare you. Participate in conversations that enhance your awareness. And remember, truth often calls for patience and a sensitive heart. Allow us to go together in search of knowledge, adventure, and personal development.